I wish I knew how much insurance plays a part in my job. The reason I decided to do non-traditional OT or occupational therapy is because I wasn't comfortable with the regulations with insurance. And just to put this into kind of a picture to explain, um, if you have an injury or a child with a disability, they are entitled to services in every state so that they can improve their life, right? So if you got an amputation or injury, you're entitled to these services. So I have insurance companies who are paying the hospital or school who then pays me. But because insurance companies are paying, they want specific things done a certain way. And even though occupational therapy has a lot of creativity, sometimes the facilities you work in may not understand or appreciate the scope of your career, or the insurance company wants you to be very narrow-minded. So you might have a child with a lot of needs, right? But they only want you to work on handwriting. Or you might have a patient who has an injury, and the patient, wants to work on their art, or they want to work on cooking or driving, but the hospital doesn't have the resources to do any of those things, right? So I wish I would have understood that a little bit better and understood the amount of work it takes to advocate for a more holistic healthcare system, and what I would have to do to take my skills and put it in a non-traditional role. I also would have looked at New York State or New York City and learned more about the reality of OTs here. OTs in other states, let's say like Baltimore, OTs usually work in mental health settings in Baltimore because every city or state has their own policies and regulations as to what these healthcare professionals can or cannot do. So looking at it could be helpful to look at OTs' LinkedIns or connect with them and say, hey, do you feel supported in your state in doing what you want to do? Because then you could get a lot of information as to whether or not the kind of OT job you have in your mind is realistic right now in the state that you live in or the state that you want to live in. Characteristics to make someone a strong OT, I would say flexible. You never know what kind of setting you're getting yourself into. And so you have to be flexible in terms of where you work, what materials are provided, how you engage with students. Also say you have to have a sense of confidence or at least put on a face. You're talking to strangers all day long, as well as connecting with parents and staff. So you have to be able to feel comfortable saying, hi, this is my name, this is the information I want, because you are put on the spot quite often. And I have the other, was there another question?
Yeah, there was another portion. It says, what is a piece of advice that you have for future grad students?
A piece of advice, ask important questions in your interview. You want to ask in questions like, how many students am I expected to see in a day? How often what are the documentation requirements? How do we meet in teams? Do I connect with parents? Because regardless of what career you work in, if the setting you're in doesn't support you as an individual, and that could mean anything, then it's not going to work out. So I could find a traditional OT job that I absolutely love because the setting is ideal. That's just as important.
Make sure to check out the My Career tab on the BC Navigator app, where you can track your career progress based on the amount of credits you've earned, stay updated on upcoming events from the Magner Center, and watch our videos for insight and advice on your career field.